Now we're moving on to brakes. Rain is going to be an issue, as it always is this time of year. So we're gonna do the part over here in the shade where I'd rather work on this now when it's just, you know, humid than when it's soaked. And then maybe later after the rain, when the sun goes down, we'll do the other side that is currently, but not for long, in the sunlight. Now I'm more interested in this other side anyway, because I did hear something. There's something scraping something when I first picked up the trailer that I wasn't totally comfortable with. I thought, you know, it's probably just rust in the drums. And maybe that's what it was, but we're gonna tear into all this, check these brakes out, get them cleaned up, do the bearings. Then we'll just see where we are and go from there. I have my big boy pneumatic jack out here, complete with the air leak. We're gonna get this up on jack stands on both sides, all the wheels off the ground, and we'll be able to do a handy dandy thing up here, right? We'll be able to lift this up. Give us a little bit more clearance, then we'll be sitting on 3 points. We should be relatively stable, and we'll just get our work done. I'm not sure how thick these frame rails are, so I'm going to spread the load a little bit with this piece of 1/4-inch steel. Okay, wheels are off the ground. Now I'm going to let it down onto the jack stand. I want to make sure that the wheels remain off the ground. Okay, let's go do the other side. Here's the punch line. The other side is going to go down as this one goes up, which is great. But we left a little extra clearance, so we should be okay. Okay, I see daylight under those other wheels. We're all set. That's kind of what I was hearing before, which really does sound like rust on the drums, and that's not a bad deal. We're gonna get our eyes on it to see for sure, but it's worse when you first start, right? And then that gets marginally better as you rub that rust off of there. This is the end of my 100-foot hose, and I needed it to get to there. You can see how well that went. What I really want to know here is, why were the brakes so weak when I brought this thing home? That's the only time I've pulled it. My suspicions are squarely on the wiring with those stupid quick connect things. I wouldn't use those for anything, but brakes, it's like sabotage. Okay, that sounds bad. That's what I was hearing. That almost sounds like there's something rolling around in there. It's cool that they're Easy Lube. I don't see a name brand, so they're just Chinese cheapies, not Dexter's, which I've heard some concerning things about their quality recently, but Dexter's are the ones that give you some comfort anyway. All right, we'll get our tools out, pop this off, pull the drum off, see what we're dealing with. I'd like to see a lot more grease in here than this. I'm guessing this is the way they were installed at the factory and they haven't been seen since. Ooh. Oh, cool, it fits. I thought for sure this wasn't going to be big enough. Now I'm remembering for the 432nd time that if I really do the bearings, which I'm gonna do, I'll have to order some seals, and I can't put the brakes back together until those seals arrive. So I'm going to get on that right away. Signs of rust. Seal looks good. Why would water get in there? I wonder if somebody in a trailer yard somewhere had a pneumatic grease gun running on a super long hose in Florida or Georgia with an air system that was full of water. And I wonder if that water got pumped in. I'll definitely get my grease gun and flush that pathway out before we do the final cleaning and reassembly. There's life on the shoes. It's not rusty. The magnet's not worn down. This is a low mileage deal here. I think as far as that's concerned, we're just going to do some cleanup. It doesn't even look like the shoes are fully set in. The drum has some scoring, but not terrible. Not a ton of wear. So I think we have good bones anyway. Alright, I'm going to get this drum cleaned up and order a set of 4 seals. The seals are ordered. They come in tomorrow, thankfully. So we'll get these put back together pretty quick. I think the game now is to take all the drums off so I can clean them up and have them ready. And if I can get to it before it rains on me, go through all the brakes. Like these brakes look like they're in good shape. Hopefully the other 3 look like this. But what I don't like is no brake lube anywhere. So I'm gonna pull it apart, and then that'll be everything that we can do before those seals come in, and it'll just be quick work to pack the bearings, put the drums on, put the wheels on, and we'll be good with the brakes. Also need to rewire the brakes, and so that's the wiring down this side. It only comes down this side and the wire passes through the axle, but I'm going to replace the wiring all the way from the junction box in the front back to these axles. I'm going to solder those connections, going to put in the plastic grommets in the little holes, and I think that's probably going to solve our issue unless we find some kind of a nightmare in the other 3 wheels. We need to move pretty quick because the rain's on the way. Basically the same. See a little bit of sign of rust, and the brakes themselves look like they're in good shape. Well, that's not good. Yeah, that's really not good. Guess I'm gonna go order some seals. Okay, Easy Lube seals are ordered. Let's see if there's any moisture damage or the thing's just dry or what. Probably nothing, but this could be bad. Yeah, look at how filthy it is. Goodness. So it's low miles. It hasn't had a lot of opportunity to grind away the bearings, but we're gonna look at these pretty close. Wow. That would have been so easy to prevent. That was really hard, but it's really just, it's crud. I was thinking, uh-oh, chunk of metal. That'd be a bad deal. I'm going to compare the looseness of these bearings to the others, and I'm going to do that pretty quick because I may need to I need to buy new bearings. There's a lot of rust. I don't yet see any signs of heat, so that's good. I don't like the discoloration, but I don't see any scoring. I don't see any actual damage. So I'm not sure what to make of that. But like the other 2 that we've looked at, the brakes themselves look to be okay. We'll take them apart, clean them up like the others. Well, this one has its seal, so that's good. It's funny. Both of these were loose, the other 2 were tight. You had different people working on each side, I guess. Rust again. Okay, all four basically the same. I think we have something to work with here. Time to get some things cleaned up. It may have been a little surprising when I reacted negatively to that dust cap being off, but let me show you what I was thinking. This is the bearing on the rear axle, and its dust cap was in shape. You see, there's a little bit of play, which one would expect. I can rock the cage back and forth a bit. So, okay. This is the bearing that didn't have the dust cap. To me, that rocks a lot further. It moves up and down a lot further for sure. So it has a lot more play in it. And that's enough for me. So I've ordered a set of 4 bearings. We're going to do all of them at the same time and not take chances. This trailer is going to be full of valuable stuff. We're going to be on the road. We're not going to be in the mood for problems. We're going to do this safe. So 4 new bearing sets on the way. Here's the punchline. Comes with these caps that I don't need, and the rubber plugs that I just ordered, and the seals that I just ordered. But I'm going to let all of that stuff come in, and I'll carry some road spares. That bearing is junk. I'm expecting the inner bearing is also junk. Can't really do a test here, but so those will get pitched, but 2 or 3 of the other sets of bearings, I'll clean them up, give them a little bit of lube, put them in baggies, and carry those as road spares. Why not? I'll have a little more confidence in this. This is a pivot point here. There's some metal-to-metal contact with moving parts here. Of course, the back of the shoes rub against the backing plate. This magnet needs to be at least a little bit loose. It's not going to do much, but that pivot point here, all that stuff got lubed, including the adjusting screw here. These are manually adjusted brakes, of course they are. So we went ahead and cleaned this up and lubed it a little bit too. Not sure it'll make a huge difference, but it's less likely to stick 2 years from now. We're going to give the other 3 brakes the exact same treatment. I expect things will go about the same. Then it's just a matter of everything arriving tomorrow, and we'll put it all back together. We got the brakes all cleaned up in time. Now we're getting just enough rain to make things difficult. If it stops really soon, I don't know, I might be able to get under there and do the electrical stuff without making a big mess. I did purge the grease passage through here and then covered the axles with what came out of it because of this. I don't want it to rust. So we do have some rust protection on there. I guess for the meantime, we'll just jump into the garage, get some things cleaned up, like those drums. Connector looks good. What we're looking for here is the blue wire. This blue wire is coming off of the connector, and it is spliced to the wire that goes to the brakes in this loom. We are going to replace that one. You can see it's blue underneath all the black spray paint. That's a nice touch. So we'll have to get into this loom a little bit. We may get lucky and pull the new wire through. This other wire, that's this black one here, is part of the breakaway system. And it goes over to this switch, which is fed by the hot on this battery. This black wire goes to ground. The idea, if these batteries were ever good, is that you hook this little cable to the tow vehicle, which no one ever does. If the trailer breaks away, it'll pull this pin out of this switch, which turns on and would feed power to the brakes. And so the trailer comes to a stop pretty quick, even though it's separated from the tow vehicle. Looks good on paper, but I doubt it typically happens that way. We're going to leave all that intact. We just need to replace this blue wire, and honestly, I think I want to run a ground wire as well. That looks like this one. And you can tell it's white when you scrape away all the black spray paint. Awesome. If the blue wire to the brakes and the white wire for the ground is compromised anywhere, you got nothing. The thing that we forget is the ground is just as important as the hot. It carries just as much current as the hot would carry. We just think the ground's kind of automatic because it's supposedly the whole chassis. But when connection points look like that, it doesn't take much corrosion for that to be the weak link in the system. So what I'd like to end up with is a ground wire that goes all the way to the brakes, and it can be tied to the chassis in more than one spot. I like that too, but I don't want to rely on corroded connections to the chassis for a ground connection. Okay, let's get underneath and start pulling some wire out. Here's our loom. Thankfully it's very short, so we should be able to fish some wire through there. Sometimes it's sketchy fishing wire through conduit, for example, that already has stuff in it. It can get hung up and then you're in a world of hurt, but we're gonna try it. Here's the two wires of interest. The rest of these go into the trailer and across the ceiling to get to all of the turn signals and running lights. We go through a hole here with no grommet. Awesome, gonna fix that. And here's what I was complaining about regarding grounds. Not a very good ground. And it doesn't look like they scraped away paint. It's just, no way is that gonna be reliable. It'll get it off the lot, it'll sell a trailer, but it's gonna give you problems down the road. So we're gonna fix this, and we're not gonna use a quick splice. We're also gonna upsize our wire. We have a grommet for every one of these holes, and it goes all the way back like that. So let's get back there and take a look at that wiring. Here is part of our issue. This wire somehow got cut. Not too sure how that happened, but there it is. This is one of the wires for the magnet in the left side brakes here. That's where it got snipped. Now that would only affect this one wheel. That's assuming this 4,000th quick splice is actually good, and I have my doubts. So I think what I'm going to do is cut out all of the quick splices and wire everything with soldered and heat shrinked connections. More quick splices that lead to more quick splices. Let me see, these wires come out of the axle tube, so that's the wires that go over to the other magnet, and this wire continues on to the rear axle. I think I know how I want to handle this. We're not going to use those at all. And we're not going to use this either. So we will splice these with the wires we're about to install. Actually, here, we'll just cut right there, right there. Get this garbage out. It's all up from here. That simple. That's all it took to do it right. I think I spent $10 on this bag of grommets. Yeah. Okay, we're going to put these in all of them. We have our ground point cleaned up. Yes, dielectric grease handy for it as well. And I'd like to change the screw I'm using. That one will bite. That'll be good. So this will be a splice, really. We'll have the ground wire come from the front into here, and then another wire starting from this point to run to the back. We need to go get that wire. It's all the way back there. We're going to scoot back and pull both wires through all of our grommets. We'll be doing some splices here, so this will get cut, but all my excess is right there, so we're good to go on that one. Just need to take these ends and feed them through each grommet all the way back up to the front. I'll come back through with some zip ties and zip these two into kind of a loom. I need to pull these wires through the split loom tubing. It's split, so it'd be pretty easy to not pull it, but I'm going to try it. I'll just splice these to the old wire and hopefully pull it through without snagging on anything. If I create a problem, I'll be able to take it all apart and fix that problem. Kind of pressed for time here. Really just need to get it done. Yeah, don't need much here, just to get it through some tubing. Needed some attention. When we have more time, it'd be nice to come back and splice this stuff with a little solder involved. This is looking kind of corroded, to be honest. And it's not an old trailer, so we'll be back here again if we don't do it now. It's still looking bad. This is not good. So because this isn't sealed in any kind of a way, the moisture has run down this copper and corroded all of it. That's not going to make a good connection. So we're running out of wire. There's the outer jacket right there. So what we'll need to do is cut more of the outer jacket off, and so we need to, oh, will this come off? Only if I break it. All right, so we'll need to advance the cable through its little cable clamp there to give ourselves some more room to work with down here, and we'll go back until we don't find corrosion anymore, and then we'll solder it, and we'll do that for the ground as well. What we're risking here is shortening this cable too much to the point that we can't connect it to the vehicle. At this point, I've lost complete confidence in this wiring. Let's just do it. Let's just do all of it. I want to identify some stuff. I know white is my ground, black is power, and I have a brown, green, and an orangish red. The brown and the green makes sense to me. Green is right turn, brown is running light, usually yellow is left. So not sure what's going on here, but we're going to say that this one is the left turn. I've got like colors of wires, so I really don't need to remember anything. I just need to put it back the way I found it. So let's get all the garbage out. Look at that. All that corrosion. We're going to seal this with solder, so we'll be less susceptible to that. The only loose end here is how much of this cable, I mean, I don't have a bunch of extra here, so how much of this cable do I have to cut off to get to wire that isn't corroded? It's terrible. So worst case scenario, my cable gets too short and it won't reach the tow vehicle, which means I'll need a new cable. So gonna be a bit of a judgment call and how far I go with that, but we're gonna get this stuff put back together to where it doesn't do this. I need it to work. I don't want to be on the road and have electrical issues. So okay, projects have a way of growing. This is actually the next day from when we started working on the wiring. It was just a comedy of running into stuff like this over and over and over, and sometimes that's just the way it goes. It was just very frustrating because I'm kind of in a place where I need to finish things and move on, and I did not finish anything yesterday. I think other than this issue, we're pretty poised to finish a lot of things today, which is great. But it doesn't take too much of this stuff, too many complications for all that to go away. Our goal for today is to move the trailer closer to the shop, and then maybe even be able to do some welding on it. We're going to install some D-rings, and they'll need some support. But to do that, we'll need to put the wheels on. And to do that, we'll need to put the drums on. Brakes are all set. The wheel bearings arrived overnight, so I think we have what we need to get there. This is a mess. It's not getting any better, folks. It's too short. Okay, I'm gonna find a new one. I found a new cable locally. Gonna have to pay up for it, but I need it today. And it's gonna rain, so pretty good chance of rain here in an hour or two. So what I'm gonna do is, while it's not raining, I'm gonna do everything underneath the trailer, unless I run into more snags like this. I like what you might call a service loop. So we'll just put a little loop in this wire, and we'll come back and cable tie all that stuff later. But this is where we're gonna put our splice and ground lug. Our wires up to this point have been color coded and important, but at the magnet itself it doesn't matter. DC current will flow one way or the other, but the magnet will be a magnet either way. So we're not concerned about white and blue here. The wires are a little short, so what I'm doing right now is just splicing an extension, and then this will reach up into the loom on the bigger wires. We're getting a little rain. We did get the wiring done-ish, except for the connector end. So everything under the trailer is soldered together. I just need to get under there one more time and get some cable ties in place, the back third of it or so. So not much more to do underneath the trailer, and wiring up the connector, pigtail trailer connector thingy shouldn't take all that long. Plus, we have it now. We did run out in the bug, got some hardware for some stuff we'll be doing inside the trailer, got the connector thingy, and something else. Cable ties, ran out of cable ties. That's why we still need to do that. So as long as it's like this, we're not gonna mess around out there. We have some more stuff to do in the garage. We've got all those drums that we took off the trailer yesterday. We have new bearings. We got to clean it all up, grease up the bearings, get them installed, and then we can pop them back onto the trailer, get the wheels on it, and okay, I'm going to get ahead of myself. Let's go out to the garage. We're going to replace these bearings, and these seals are in the way. This is the drum with the missing cap for the Easy Lube thingy thing. This one doesn't seem too bad. It was that outer bearing, I guess, that took the brunt of it. But I'm not going to keep this anyway. I'm going to do some basic cleaning here. Then we'll remove those races. I've done my share of tapping them out, putting some kind of a punch behind them and tap, 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 tap. I don't do that anymore. I made this last night just for this purpose, and I have to remember the secret handshake here. Yeah, it is this. I was hoping to use this as a drop zone, but no such luck. I think the new press has proved itself. It's worthy of making a good stand for it. This working on the floor stuff is kind of silly, but got me through the day anyway. But yeah, happy with the new press. We'll get the other two done and then grease the inner bearings and install all four of the seals. Now for the really messy part. For this splice, we have wires that come down to the brakes, right? And I want to leave some travel here. Now, really, the suspension should be as fully extended as it'll ever be. It'll only come up closer, so I don't really need any more than this. So I've done a cable tie arrangement to kind of hold things up nice and loose, you know, not because I do need some movement, but not so much slack that wires are going to get where they don't need to be and be damaged, or at least that's the hope. This got a little bit silly, but what I've learned is that there's two different standards, an RV standard and a conventional like SAE standard, I think they call it. And what that means to us is there's some stuff that was backwards. I've figured out just enough to get things wired correctly. So what I'm calling the yellow wire because this is the way I'm used to it, is that's the left turn signal. That goes to the red wire on this trailer. Now the part that's backwards is the right turn signal versus parking lights. So the green wire that I'm used to calling the right turn signal actually goes to the brown wire on the trailer. The brown wire, which I'm used to being the parking lights, goes to the green wire, which I went inside the trailer and confirmed this, that is acting as the parking lights. I put the vehicle through the paces. I have my truck pulled up here, and all of those lights work correctly. Of course, white is ground. That leaves the big blue wire for our electric brakes, and the black wire here is power. Now this one needs to go to the hot to charge the battery when the truck is running. We will also splice from here to the hot side of this switch, and what that'll do for us is if the trailer breaks away, then this hot wire goes dead, but that's okay. Through this splice from here to here to here, we have power going to the switch, and the output of the switch gets spliced in with the brake wire, and then we're going to be in great shape. This trailer does not have backup lights, but I do have a wire for it that'll be hot anytime I put the vehicle into reverse. So I'm going to cover up the very end of it here with a little bit of heat shrink. Okay, case closed. Get it? See what I did there? Okay, I think we're ready for a test drive. The paint has cured for a few days, so it should be ready for this kind of use anyway. Still really smelly in here. So if it would stop raining for a little bit, I would be happy to open things up and let it air out, but it'll take care of itself one way or the other. We have plenty of installs to do. I'm going to put some E-track back in down the middle. I'll probably leave this off on this side for that stretch, and on this side because I want to put shelving there. I want to put at least 3 of the big Gorilla Rack style shelves in here, and I'll also be mounting a winch mount here for obvious reasons. We need to put 4 more D-rings somewhere in here, 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 and here, fore and aft of the axles, and that'll be for like big things. Like the first thing I'm going to haul is the Bridgeport, and so I'm going to want to put that right over the axles, maybe a little forward, but we're getting there. All right, let's hitch this thing up and take it for a quick spin, see if our brakes work. We think our lights work. We already tested that, but let's just see how it goes. Yeah, that didn't go well. I did take it out on the road and got focused on trying to figure out what was going wrong. But just moving back and forth here in the driveway, we could see that the brakes were not giving the stopping power that we really need, so there's something wrong. What I can hear is the brakes moving a lot. So we don't have a wiring issue, and that's a good thing because we just redid all of that, but the brakes they're just not doing their job. So what I think might be happening are these shoes are getting pushed all the way out as far as the mechanism will allow, and it's not enough pressure on the drums, which means they're not adjusted correctly. In hindsight, I should have looked at this a little closer than I did. I basically just put it back as it was, and that was silly because everything else that I checked needed a lot of attention. The tires should be at 75, 80 psi. They were at 40 to 50 psi. They needed that much air. So that's just indicative of everything that I've checked on this thing has needed a lot more than it had, and I should have applied that logic to the brake adjustment. So that's a pretty clear thing to try next. I also looked at some of the video that we've already shot to see if they were even installed the correct direction, right? There's a left and a right side backing plates, and from what I was able to find, it looks like that's fine. I think I looked at that when I had everything apart, but not a very close look, obviously. I think we're okay there. So let's get each side up in the air and do some adjusting, and we'll know pretty quick. If I have to adjust a lot to get the shoes seated, then that was probably our deal, or at least part of it. Another problem that I did not realize when I let everything down is this shackle doesn't look quite right. It should actually be going straight up, and it's doing that because this one is inverted. So the axle fell down, and when I let everything back down on the ground, I didn't have it positioned such that it would right itself. So we're going to take care of that as we lift the trailer back up again. The adjusting hole is there, so I have this stubby screwdriver in there, but we have drop axles. Like, it's just not happening like this. So I did look it up online, and there's a goofy tool for $80. Okay, we may have it. This shape, hang on. Hey there, Rody. This shape seems to be the secret sauce, and it doesn't require us to pull the wheel off. So let's give it another shot here. See if we can get these things adjusted. I'd love to move on. Now, I did lube the adjusters. It is moving nice. When these things get crusty and seized up, it makes this task pretty much impossible. But we're in good shape there. It's all cleaned up and moving. Okay, that's the slight drag, pretty much all the way around. Maybe just a little more. Okay, let's go with that. I'm gonna do the other side. Okay, two things. One, I'm ready for cooler weather. Two, let's try this. I'm just gonna roll forward and see if I can stop with just the trailer brakes. Much better than they were, but they're not where they need to be. I still hear a little bit of motion, but not nearly as much as I did before. They're definitely better. We may be zeroing in on it. I just don't feel like we're there yet. Okay, we're gonna try this again. We're gonna do some driving this time. Much better. Brakes are much better. They're a little slow for my taste. Let's see if we're heating anything up. Nothing crazy. I'm either getting used to them or they're getting slightly better as we go. So it may be a get the rust and crud out of those pads deal. Yeah, that one was the warmest, but none of these are bad. Okay, I am encouraged by that. We'll take it home and it'll probably be dark. I think I have the brakes as good as they're gonna be. I suspect that name brand brakes would perform better than these, cheapy ones that are on there, but it's what we have. We're gonna make it work. We did one more adjustment and that did the trick. Around here we call that keeping the project alive and driving the dream. In the next and final trailer video, we'll do a little welding and prepare the trailer for cargo. See you in the next one.